Before we get to this week's episode of Business Over a Brew, let me tell you about my friends at Roberts Motors. You know, one of our favorite episodes here on the show was when we had a chance to sit down with Sam and John Roberts. If you haven't had a chance to watch that episode, go back and take a look at it. It's great to see the interaction between not only two business partners, but of course father and son as well. They really epitomize what a local business is all about. Number one, doing business the right way, giving back to the community. If you have a chance, you may not buy a car from there, but at least give them the opportunity. Shop robertsmotors.com. You get more at Roberts Motors Ford. More selection, more value. Each vehicle they sell comes with the Roberts Rewards Value Package, which includes oil changes for 2 years, loaner cars, car washes, and much more. Get more at Roberts Motors Ford. Check them out at robertsmotors.com. Now enjoy this week's episode of Business Over a Brew. Welcome to Business Over a Brew, the show where we talk business with some of the Riverbend's most interesting and influential business leaders, all while enjoying a nice brew from the Great Rivers Tap and Grill inside the Best Western Premier Hotel in Alton. Today we'll visit with Liberty Bank Market President Matt Waters. Matt will tell us about balancing work along with raising 4 children, discuss his community roots, his position on the Marquette School Board, and what it was like to take over as market president during a pandemic. So let's get to it. It's the Business Over a Brew podcast from the Great Rivers Tap and Grill inside the Best Western Premier Hotel in Alton. Welcome to Business Over a Brew. Pleased to be joined in this episode by Market President for Liberty Bank, Matt Waters. Matt, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start where we usually start. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, I grew up in Alton. Grew up with over on Tibbet Street in Alton. Went to St. Ambrose and then to Marquette after that, and been here my whole life. So when I got out of school, my wife and I, Lindsay's from Alton as well, and we wanted to make this our home. So yeah, so born and raised in Alton, and now we're raising 4 of our own kids here. So
well, that's really the reason I wanted to have you on, because you're part of an exclusive club that I'm also a part of, and that's people that are crazy enough to try to run a business and have 4 kids at the same time.
Yeah, it is definitely crazy. Some days I don't know how we do it, but we have a lot of help with our families here. Our families are local, and like I said, my wife, she carries the load for the most part on that, and does just an amazing job. And it's like I said, it's a daily grind, but wouldn't have it any other way.
Now, I'd like to say we invited Lindsay on the show,
yes.
but it wasn't worth wasting a babysitter to have you both on. So, so Matt's coming solo tonight. Talk to us a little bit about how you got into the banking business and what intrigued you about that particular industry.
Yeah, it's interesting. My mom was in banking her whole career, and grew up around that side. A lot of people thought I would go the route of what my father did, which my dad was a coach and a teacher, which is what I thought I would initially do, but went to school and got a business degree, and really I got a marketing degree because I thought it'd be an open-ended, kind of an open degree where I wouldn't be pigeonholed into one thing. And banking just kind of happened really out of the blue after I got out of college, and had some connections with some people that worked at, it used to be Union Planters Bank, and they said, you should come and try this out. This would be a good place to start, and started there, and really the rest is history, and learned that I really enjoy working with people, and banking's a good place to be when you want to do that. So
we'll go back to the start of your career a little bit later on, but I wanted to fast forward just because every time I see you, you took over as market president at Liberty Bank at one of the craziest times ever, and probably had no idea because it was right around the time that this whole COVID-19 thing started. Was it January that you took over?
So started at the end of 19, and then COVID hit. COVID came, and mid-February, really early March, we knew we've got some problems here, and they don't have a playbook for how to handle a pandemic in the market president in the playbook. So it's been a crazy year. And
banks were critical in the payroll protection plan. Obviously, that created a lot of probably stress for you. And you were able to help a lot of businesses, I know. But then also trying to figure out what are our own policies for the bank and things like that. So talk to us about just getting through that time.
Yeah, it was, anytime there's times of crisis, all you can really do is take it day by day and really focus on people. And I think as a bank, we did a good job of really focusing on our employees first to make sure they were safe, but also our customers. We just wanted to talk to them. I think part of the chaos of March and April was people didn't know what to do. They knew things were being shut down. They knew that it was going to greatly impact their business or just their family, and they just needed someone to talk to. And so I think myself, along with our staff, we really just focus on making sure we were available to talk to people. And really we were finding out along with them some of the programs that would be coming out, how it would impact them and how we could help them. So it really was a team effort. Trust me, there were a lot of nights where I thought, I'm not really sure, how this is going to go. But when you surround yourself with good people, and I've always learned that, when you don't know, you need to say you don't know, and let's find out. And so I think a lot of us just got together and tried to take it day by day to try to help our customers. And I think we've been able to do that, and it's ongoing. The pandemic, I think if we were honest with ourselves in March, I think we all thought by August, September, okay, this thing is going to be better. And now we're still here. So it's ongoing. It's just been an interesting year, but been invaluable as far as what we've learned. So
it has been definitely interesting. You go back to January, I think a lot of us probably thought, this will be a SARS or a swine flu kind of thing, and then March it starts to get more serious. I think our kids play on the same baseball team, and I remember being at one of their practices and the word coming down that schools were going to close, and I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
We're sending the kids, this is serious.
Yeah.
So that's when it really kind of became reality for me that, okay, this is something that's a little different than anything we've ever experienced before.
Yeah, absolutely. When schools started closing, I know our bank, we closed our lobbies on St. Patrick's Day. Mm-hmm. I remember that. It's my wife's birthday, St. Patrick's Day. And, you knew then that this is probably going to be this way for a little while. I mean, we had I remember that day specifically thinking, when will be the next day that these doors will be unlocked and open for customers? And you had a pretty good idea that it was going to be a while. And I think once people got to April, mid-April, started to get some help, started to understand that there may be some help from like you said, the PPP loan and some other things that we're doing, we started to kind of settle in, if that makes sense. I think by about May, people were ready to get out of the house. And sure. Especially, you mentioned our 4 kids. I mean, this has really impacted children, and our kids are 12, 10, 9, and 2. So it impacts them a lot different than your high school seniors that lost their whole second half of their senior year, right, going to college, all those type of things. So it's just been so many different ways that it's affected everyone. So
absolutely. And we talked a little bit before we started rolling about the PPP program, and frustration with it to a certain extent, just because the information was changing on a daily basis almost. Sure. But anytime you roll out a program, $1 trillion program or whatever it was, there's going to be some logistical problems with it. But the bottom line is, I think when you look back at it, it really helped a lot of businesses.
Oh, it was instrumental for a lot of businesses to keep them going. And the businesses that were truly shut down, your bars, your restaurants that could not open, I think it gave them that temporary boost to try to get through it. They're still, it's so tough for them right now because they're still shut down. But the other thing it did is that the businesses that they didn't quite know how this was going to affect them, I think they realized quickly that it was going to affect them, and it gave them an outlet to try to get some help quickly if they needed it. So it definitely helped a lot of businesses, and it'll be interesting to see if more things come of this the longer it goes. But for that time, they were able to get money out to people fairly quickly.
I think one of the most challenging things about dealing with it is there's no finish line.
Yeah.
If we had a finish line that we could look at and say, okay, December 31st, this thing's over, we can get through it. But we don't know. I mean, there's so much uncertainty to it.
Yeah, I think right now people are learning how to live with it. And what I mean by that is, in March, April, everything was shut down. Now I think we realize this is probably going to be here for a little while. We need to try to figure out ways to live with this and try to keep commerce going and get schools back open and those type of things. But the virus is going to decide how this all goes. I mean, and that's the unfortunate part about this, is that none of us know when that end date is going to be. I wake up every day hoping it's today.
But,
right? But we will get through it. I tell people all the time, when you're going through times of struggle, it feels like you're never going to get out of it. then you get to the end of it and then you say, man, we got through it. And right now we're all in this time where it's just uncertain and we don't know when it's going to end, but it will end. And I think that's what we all have to remind ourselves is, hey, let's take it day by day, get through it, help each other, help work together to do that. And then, we will see the other side of this.
Well, you talk about schools, you're involved on that end of it too,
Yes.
being on the Marquette School Board. Talk a little bit about that and what you talk about being in two industries that are just dealing with it head on.
Well, it's funny because, like I mentioned earlier, my father has been in education and coaching, and have a sister that's a teacher, and part of my life I thought I'd be an educator, and for the last couple of months I felt like I was in education, being on the school board and being involved in very various meetings and trying to figure out how to best handle it at Marquette. And I love Marquette. It's where I went to school. I grew up around it with my family, and I'm just thankful that I can try to help any way I can to help the school. And they have an amazing group of administrators and teachers there that are doing everything they can to make sure it's a good experience for the kids.
One of the things that I probably didn't anticipate before becoming general manager of the radio station was just how many day-to-day decisions you have to make that come across your desk, and you agonize over a lot of them. Yeah. Boy, have you had to make a lot in the last, for a long time, but especially since COVID hit. Talk to us a little bit about your decision-making process. And did there come a time where it's like, I can't make one more decision today? You decide what we're having for dinner, Lindsay.
Well, that's a daily discussion. But no, I think, the way I've been taught and the way I've been raised and learned from some of my mentors is, all you can do is take the information that you have in front of you and make the best decision you can. And at the end of the day, my decisions at the bank revolve around helping the customer, helping our employees, doing the right thing. If you follow kind of that guidance, usually you're going to steer yourself in the right direction. But I think the other thing is, I've asked for input. I mean, we all have to be honest with ourselves that no one has a playbook for how to get through COVID. So what you can do is you have people that you trust that you can go to and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I think you just try to get input when you can. Sometimes there's not time to do that. You just have to make the best decision that you see fit. But I think we all have to work together. It's not just me making those decisions. It's input from others, and we've got a good group of people at the bank that help with that.
I like to talk to successful people about their daily routine a little bit. What's your daily routine look like? What time are you up in the morning and in the office? And
my daily routine, it's a long day every day.
About noon?
After
18 holes in the morning? No, that's not it. Okay.
That's what everybody thinks, but that's not the case. My wife and I are very active, and I learned early on in my life that when you're busy and you work hard, you have to have an outlet to try to kind of have balance in your life. And staying fit and working out is our outlet. We like to work out. So my days usually start with working out in the morning. I take the kids to school every day. That's Lindsay really bears the brunt of getting the kids a lot of places. But one of the reasons that I love working in our community is that I always wanted to be a really active dad with my kids and make sure that I was present. And so that's my one, non-negotiable is that most days I take the kids. Obviously I have meetings here and there that we have to switch, but take the kids to school and take little Charlie to daycare, and that's kind of our time to be together with the kids. And then, the rest of the day, you have a plan of how your day is going to go, and then we all know when things can change that throughout the day.
It's usually out the window by 8 or 9.
So, but my days are busy and spend a lot of time with our staff and our lenders, but really it's a lot of customer interaction, and there's definitely long days, with checking email even when you're at home at night, and all those type of things, and that's just part of the business. But once I get home late in the day, I really try to have good balance with the kids. And as I'm active with the kids in their sports and try to be as active as I can. But the reality is that my job, it's a busy job. And that's just part of it. And I wouldn't have it really any other way. I like being busy. And, it's nice to be able to work where you live. That helps. There's a lot of, in banking, there's a lot of carryover. When I'm at soccer practice, I can be talking to a business owner there and kind of having some of that. So, the job never really stops. You're kind of always kind of have to be able to have that conversation. You have to carry yourself the right way. And, I try to do that every day. So
I've always said it's amazing what you learn in an automobile from your kids. I've been fortunate enough to have similar situations where I get to take the kids to school, and just those conversations that take place in the car a lot of times don't take place at home. I don't know if too much craziness is going on or what.
Yeah, the mornings are a little quieter, I think, than the afternoons with our kids. I think they're still getting used to being back in school. They're lucky to be back in school. They all go to St. Mary's in Alton, and every week that goes by that they're actually in school, we're very thankful. And but yeah, you get to talk to them, and for Charlie, who's 2, I drop the older kids off, and then Charlie and I have a little time to take him to daycare, and I really cherish that because when you have 4 kids, you realize by the 4th that they don't stay 2 years old forever. That's a pretty special time in their life, and so that's kind of nice that I get about 5-10 minutes with him where it's just him and I, and that I really enjoy that. So
you're kind of in the similar situation that I am, and we had our 2 older kids who are now 19 and 16, and then we took a break, and now we're at 10 and 8. So it's like, what were you waiting around for 6 years for? But keeps you young, I guess.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Charlie, he gets dragged around a lot. Let's put it that way. So as you saw this year with baseball, he's at a lot of baseball games and pretty much just wants to do whatever his older brother's doing. So
I saw him. He's already a great hockey player at age 2. So I saw the video.
I don't know that he has a choice, honestly, with William Brown, that he's going to have to play sports. But yeah, he's a great kid and been just a joy to our family. So.
Well, sports is an interesting topic to bring up because it's obviously been a big part of your life, big part of my life.
Sure.
And most kids, most people are not going to play professional sports at any level. But the things that you learn and the relationships you build through sports, even now, I rely on those every day. The lessons and the relationships that you get from those are really invaluable. And that's one of the things that, unfortunately, we're missing a little bit of in some respects right now due to COVID.
Yeah, it's, I was raised in a house with a head football coach as my dad, and so I was always around sports and, was able to be around teams, and even, I was on the sidelines as a 3rd grader and got to see some pretty amazing teams at Marquette that my dad coached with some really good players like Craig Hintrick and others that went on to play at Notre Dame. And so I was able to see the good and bad of sports, if that makes sense. But, as a kid, it was always kind of instilled in me about being part of a team and how special that can be. And so I was lucky enough to play on some really good teams at Marquette and then went on to play at Quincy University and played football and baseball there. And so I got to see and meet people from all over the country as far as teammates and people from different backgrounds, came up, in different situations than you. And what you learn really quickly is that when everyone's pulling along the same chain and really looking out for each other and you build that trust with each other, you can do some pretty good things. And there's definitely some translation over to business. And, my staff and people that I work with know that I'm big on team. I'm big on supporting each other and building trust with each other that, when you know the person that's working with you, you can trust them. It makes the whole thing go. And so sports, it to this day has impacted me and how I really not only run a business, but live my life. And, I tell my kids all the time, it doesn't matter how many goals you score. It doesn't matter, really, wins or losses, that matters sometimes. But the point is, are you a good teammate? Mm-hmm. Are you coachable? Do you make others around you better by helping them? Those are the lessons that you need to learn, and those are the things that I think hold true throughout life. And like I said, I've been able to be a part of some really good teams with great coaches and that are still mentors to this day. And I think that is something that is very important to me.
Just about out of time. One piece of advice, if you could give to a young entrepreneur starting out in business, what would that be?
Oh my goodness, one piece of advice for an entrepreneur. I would say be open-minded. I think sometimes, especially young people now, I think they feel like they have to have it all figured out when they're younger. And the reality is that you have to be open to the fact that what you want to do when you're 18, 19, 20 may not be what you want to do at 25, 30, 35, 40. And you have to be open-minded to, to new things, to really self-awareness, understanding what you're good at, what you like doing, all those type of things. So I think as an entrepreneur, you just have to be open-minded to new things and understanding that things do change and things that you want to do now may be different down the road. And then the other, I would say, I get 2, all right? So the other thing I would say is, surround yourself with really good people and good mentors. You have to have help along the way. You can't do it all by yourself. And, identify those people that are in it for the right reasons and learn from them and reach out, and don't be ashamed of asking questions and looking for guidance.
Good thoughts. We'll finish with a quick shameless plug for Liberty Bank.
Yeah, Liberty Bank. I mean, obviously, anything we can do for the community, whether it be business needs, personal needs, anything we can do really to help with your banking. Come see us. We have 4 locations here in the Riverbend, and a great staff of people that are willing to help, and truly a community bank. Proud to work there, proud of our staff, and be happy to help anybody that we can.
Well, Matt, thanks for coming on. Appreciate the time. Appreciate all you do for the community.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it.
The area is darn lucky to have you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.